For a long time, the main rule in cybersecurity was pretty simple, right? Just build a bigger, stronger wall. But what happens when that wall just isn't enough anymore? Especially now, with AI-powered attacks, those fortresses are getting breached all the time. The old rules are broken, and that means we need a totally new way to think about defense.
It all really starts with one number, a number that honestly should probably keep anyone in security up at night: 54%.
So what is that? Well, according to a recent CrowdStrike report, that's the success rate for phishing emails that were created by AI. Now, just compare that to the old-school attacks written by humans. Those only work about 12% of the time. We're not talking about a small step up here. This is a gigantic leap. The attackers are using our own best tools against us, and frankly, they're winning. Okay, so here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll dig into why that old fortress model is falling apart. Then, we'll talk about switching to a new strategy of proactive defense. From there, we'll get into the really cool stuff, the art of deception. We'll even look at a real-world case study to see it in action. And we'll wrap up by defining this new cybersecurity battlefield. All right, let's jump right in. The failing fortress. So why is this classic reactive way of doing things getting so completely overwhelmed? Well, the biggest problem is something called alert fatigue. Research from Vector AI shows that your average security operations center gets hit with almost 3,000 alerts every single day. That's not just background noise, it's a tidal wave. How can anyone possibly find the one real threat in all of that? It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack made of other needles. Defenders aren't just busy, they're totally outmatched. So if building higher walls is a losing game, what's the alternative? It's not about building a better wall. It's about fundamentally changing the battlefield by shifting to a proactive defense. And this is the core strategic shift we're talking about. We're moving away from a passive waiting game and into an active hunt. The goal isn't to just sit back and wait for an alarm to go off. No, the goal is to get out there, find the attacker's infrastructure, and take it down before they even get a chance to launch their attack. It's a hunter's mindset, not a guard's. Let's just put it side by side. Reactive defense means you wait for an attack inside your network, and then you respond to alerts. It's static. Proactive defense, on the other hand, means you hunt for threats, often outside your network, and you disrupt them early. It's dynamic, it's adaptive. It's about seizing the initiative. Now, maybe the most powerful tool in this new proactive strategy is deception. The idea is to stop trying to build that impenetrable fortress and instead build an inescapable hall of mirrors for the attacker. So what is deception technology? It's a defense strategy that's built on one core belief. The attacker is already inside your network. Once you accept that, you start using a network of digital traps and decoys, fake files, fake credentials, fake servers, and you mix them in with all your real assets. The goal is to make them look so irresistible that any attacker snooping around can't help but investigate. And here's how it works in 4 simple steps. First, you deploy the decoys. Second, the attacker who's moving around your network stumbles upon one and interacts with it. Third, and this is the absolute key, that interaction triggers an alert. But here's the thing. Since no legitimate user would ever touch a decoy, that alert is a 100% certain, high-fidelity signal of a threat. And finally, the system automatically isolates that threat for analysis, keeping your real stuff completely safe. You know, this whole process really highlights a huge evolution, something pointed out in the Dolos academic paper. See, the early versions of this, like simple honeypots, were kind of easy for attackers to spot because they were separate from the real network. The new rule is that your deception has to be woven directly into your production systems. You make the fake stuff so realistic that it's impossible to tell it apart from the real thing. Okay, that's the theory. But what does this look like in practice? Let's walk through a real-world example of how an attack gets blocked. We're going to look at an attack that was handled by the AELION deception engine, and you'll see there are basically 2 stories happening here at the same time. One involving a malicious bot, and the other a legitimate user. So let's set the scene. Our threat actor is an automated bot, coming from Casablanca, and it's up to no good. Our legitimate user is a professional in Dubai, just trying to browse a luxury retail site. They're both hitting the exact same website. All right, so let's follow the bot's journey. It starts poking around the system, looking for weaknesses. It tries to access a sensitive configuration path, a super common target. But waiting there is a digital landmine, a decoy.env file planted by the engine. The second the bot touches it, bam, an instant block is triggered. The bot is immediately neutralized and tossed into a quarantine zone for analysis. Game over. Okay, now, while that whole silent battle was going on, what did our actual client in Dubai experience? Absolutely nothing. The AELION engine intelligently saw their traffic, knew it was legitimate, and just passed it right through. For them, the site was fast, clean, and totally uninterrupted. And that's really the elegance of modern deception. It's incredibly hostile to attackers and completely invisible to everybody else. So what does this all mean for the future? We've arrived at the new cybersecurity battlefield, and here's the most important takeaway from all of this. This is the crucial mental shift we all need to make. The old goal is gone. We have to accept that a determined attacker will get past the perimeter. So the goal can't be to just build an unbreakable wall. Instead, the new goal is to build a confusing, hostile environment for them on the inside. It's that hall of mirrors, where attackers waste all their time chasing ghosts, and every move they make just reveals their exact location to you. So I'll just leave you with this one final question to think about. If you assume the breach is going to happen, and it probably will, what do you want that attacker to find when they get inside? Do you want them to find your critical data, your crown jewels? Or would you prefer they find a carefully constructed trap that you built specifically for them? The answer to that question really defines the entire future of cyber defense.